Today I'm sharing 5 mistakes that I've made trying to do too much. And the reason I'm sharing is because here on our Learn to Become channel, I teach people how to be productive and effective and organized. And I need to know that what I'm putting out in the world is actually making people's lives better, because my productivity probably 10x'd by the time I built my command central and learned how to build the system to be totally organized. And I love teaching that because I love helping you to unlock your energy and be able to get the important things done. The problem is I started doing too much, and it's taken me a while to rein that in so that I'm actually enjoying my life and feeling more calm and present. So today I'm teaching you the 5 things that I wish that I had known earlier. I'm a little nervous about recording this video, to be honest, because I'm sharing things that I'm kind of embarrassed that I ever thought. But I think if I share them now, that if you can learn from my mistakes, it's worth it. Mistake number 1 is I used to think that my value could be measured. So let's just imagine that you have 2 people side by side and they have different, measurements for number of tasks they accomplish, how beautiful they are, how much influence they have, how much they weigh, how much money they have. I thought that if I could just try to raise my numbers, which I feel like the ones that I could impact the most were how many tasks I did, then I would increase my value. Now, I've learned since then that that's absolutely ridiculous to try to measure anyone against anyone else, because we're all so unique. We all have completely different strengths and things that, we're not so strong in. And so learning how to distinguish has made a big impact. Dr. David Burns, who's the author of the bestseller Feeling Good and When Panic Attacks, now Feeling Great, his most recent book, he's taught me a lot. And there was this one video between him and Mike Christensen where they were talking about the death of the self. And one of the things that I've learned was, imagine that you're at your high school reunion and there's someone whose status, according to those measurements I mentioned, are really high. And then they had this example where that person comes up to you and says, I judge you because I'm so amazing. Have you seen me on the cover of the magazine? Have you seen how amazing I am? Look, I'm so much better than you are. And they have this awesome exchange where they help me to understand that it's absolutely okay to not be the greatest at everything. Like being average and being weak in some areas, being normal, actually is a beautiful place to be. Even being here on YouTube, this was hard for me at first to even start getting on video because I was so critical of myself. The first time I recorded myself on video and saw, I wanted to throw up because I just thought, oh my goodness, my face isn't symmetrical, or I don't know, I had all these things I was criticizing about myself. Even now I have over 200 podcast episodes at Learn to Become Radio. And one day I said, I think I just want to go back and delete all of my old podcasts because I'm embarrassed about the struggles I was going through, or I just don't think I did a great job. And it was so funny because people in our community said, no, please don't delete them. We need to see this journey you've been on and the progress you've made. And if you've done a really bad job on something, we kind of like being able to see that and watch it and notice it. So just learning that my value, your value can't be measured by any numbers. That's been huge for me. I wish I could go back to that version of myself that just tried so hard to get so much done, thinking I was going to be more valuable. But that's okay. I learned from it, but that's number 1. Mistake number 2 is that I believed it was wrong for me to be happy if anything was wrong in the world. So I would keep myself really, really busy and stressed out enough that I couldn't really be called happy because I felt like I needed to make myself suffer to show how much compassion I had for other people who are suffering. And you might be thinking, how did you equate that? But I'll just tell a quick story. So one day, Eric and I were walking Sunny. We have these hills near our house, and we were up in the hills, and it's a beautiful day, and our dog Sunny's running around and just having a great time. And I felt happy. And then as soon as I felt happy, I thought, I shouldn't be happy. Here I'm out walking. There are people who are commuting and who are at work and having such a hard day, and there's people who are starving. I should just make sure I am kind of suffering so that I honor them. And the thing is, what I've learned, and you've probably already learned this, or maybe you haven't, but what I learned was that when I am happy and grateful and appreciating the beautiful parts of my life, I put myself in a situation where then I will and can go serve. I'm not the kind of person who just cares about me. I do care about other people, but being happy enables me to do more of that. And so Eric and I, as we've been focusing more on our self-care and happiness and being grateful for what we have, now we have more energy to go and give and work with organizations and travel to places to help alleviate suffering. And if I was just sitting home being busy so that I couldn't have energy or time to be joyful and serve, it'd be a night and day difference. So, okay, that's mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 is I used to push my anxiety on others so that they would do more too. And a story to go with this, this is really hard for me to share because I just wish I hadn't done it. But okay, so our daughter Aaliyah was working with us on a project a few years ago, and I was so anxious. It was probably the height of my anxiety, and I felt obligated to make this project happen and for it to go well, and I was feeling ashamed or embarrassed about myself and like I wasn't doing a good enough job. There was one day where it's actually in this room. It's like our guest room that I'm filming in right now, but we were in this room and I was telling her, Aaliyah, we're not working fast enough. I don't know how I said it, but basically I was pushing it on her. You need to be doing more. And now she had just had this surgery on her foot, and she had this brace, and she couldn't quite walk. She needed crutches. And so we were going upstairs, and as she's climbing the stairs, she's like on her hands and knees. And she's saying, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I'll try to work harder or do more. And we kind of laugh now, where it's like, remember that time I was like climbing the stairs on my hands and knees and you were telling me all the stuff I needed to do? She doesn't blame me, and she's forgiven me, and it's all good. We've had lots of talks about it. But in that moment, when I think back to that, I was pushing my own anxiety thinking, well, she does more, then I can feel better. Now, you might be the recipient of that sometimes, where a person in your life keeps telling you, do more, do more, do more, because it's their own anxiety. And I will take that responsibility as a leader. That was on me. But what I've learned now, I don't do that anymore, is that I, will communicate expectations and we'll set goals, and we work way in advance so that no one needs to be stressed out. And if things don't go as planned, we just kind of edit and move forward. But I won't put my need to feel accomplished or important over other people's ability to be respected and loved and move at a good pace. And so I wish I could go back and change that, but that little moment, that experience, picturing her going up the stairs, it's actually kept me in check, where now I make sure that I am leading wisely and out of love and doing the work that I feel matters in a way that actually builds relationships and strengthens our trust. Mistake number 4 is I used to believe that projects and tasks were more important than my health. And so I talked a little bit here on the channel about some health issues that I had years back, but I'm thinking it's probably, 8 years ago, and we hadn't moved here to this home yet. And Eric and I were working really, really hard to build our business and save money for our move, and had 4 children, and I was losing my mom to Alzheimer's, and we had just so many projects and things going on. And there was one day where I was sitting on my bed and I had my legs out in front of me, and I looked down and I had these rashes on both my shins, from my knee down to my ankles, just from stress. And I remember I just looked at my legs oh my goodness, this is terrible. And I knew it was stress, but I thought, well, there's so much important stuff I need to do for my family that it's okay. My body can just suffer, because what am I going to do? So if I could go back to that version of me, I would have said, hey, April, your body is showing you that what you're taking on right now is just too much. So how about you look at what's most essential, and then you need to have some of these hard conversations. Because there were conversations I didn't want to have, where I felt like I was going to let someone down, or I was going to hurt someone's feelings, or I was going to ruin my family. I don't know. I just felt like if we don't get all our goals met and do everything, it's gonna be my fault. And I put so much on myself. And if I could go back, I just would have changed that. So now I know that if I am not healthy, and if my body is slowly dying, or if I feel like I'm in pain or just going through a lot of physical or emotional suffering, then whatever it is that I'm trying to keep alive, I probably need to let that task or project just die. And that was the hardest thing for me to acknowledge, because I thought, no, I could keep people's dreams alive. I can keep things going, but not at the sacrifice of my health. So I just encourage you to think about this, because maybe you're not like me, but if right now you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in that. I feel sick. I feel exhausted. I am not getting enough sleep or nutrition or rest or replenishment or whatever. I guarantee you, if you will have the hard conversations with yourself or with others, you're going to be so grateful. Mistake number 5 is I believed if I didn't work myself to the bone to alleviate suffering and just do a whole lot of work, especially here at Learn, Do, Become, running an online community where it can kind of feel like a treadmill with so many things to do, that I was abandoning my God-given stewardship, kind of like letting God down. And it took me some time to get to the root of this. I'm actually going to play a little snippet from a coaching session I did with a cognitive behavioral therapist named Mike Christensen. I asked him if I could just share this little video, because what we went through together in this discussion and how he helped me to realize that was just life-changing for me. So I'll go ahead and play that. And 2 more quick things. We're editing the video today, and I just want to clarify. Number 1, what you're about to see, it's kind of taken out of context. And so as you are listening to what I'm sharing, please don't judge me too harshly because it's a little hard for me to share. So just know this is part of a full, hour and a half, 2 hour long session where we had done this downward arrow technique, learning how to find thoughts. And second, this isn't a typical therapy appointment. I hired Mike Christensen to be my coach, where he's teaching me cognitive behavioral theory to help me to know how to apply it to the community and be helpful here at Learn, Do, Become. And we do personal work as part of this coaching session. So just want to clarify that. Okay, we can just play it now.
I just had an idea that'll throw your way, and it may not have any value, but you can see if it does with a more radical acceptance. And so I'll play positive April, you play negative, and you hit me with that negative thought.
Okay, so April, if you don't really put yourself out there and, push yourself and give it more energy, the voices that will be left over aren't going to be as strong when it comes to loving God and family. So you're really letting the adversary win if you slow down and take a break.
Thanks for reminding me of those important principles in my life. But I want to just clarify something, because in fact, I've discovered this both from a spiritual perspective, but also in real life. When things don't go the way necessarily I had expected or planned, like they don't go perfectly and things kind of fall apart at times, that's when people love me the most. That's the beauty of serving a God who doesn't want perfection. He wants our heart. And ultimately, that's the victory over the enemy, because he's not going to get mine.
Ooh, that was good.
What worked for you there?
Focusing on that God doesn't want perfection, that he wants our heart. And that's the thing that I've logically known. If I'm in alignment with God, I'm successful. I don't have to do a certain thing. But it's that little trick of oh, but you let the adversary win. Oh, but you don't want to slow down. But it's true. It's it's not my job to make choices for other people. It's my choice to give my heart to God. And I can do that without even being overwhelmed at all.
So now, as you've watched that and seen what I went through, and as I reflected on it, I've learned I can make my lists. I can, decide what tasks I'm doing, which projects I'm doing, and I can take that to God and I can say, here's what I'm working on. And sometimes God helps me adjust that. And then I can move forward and just doing the best I can and feeling joy in the fact that I have breath and energy and the ability to serve. But I don't need to put that external pressure on myself. This hasn't necessarily been an easy video to record. I do feel a little embarrassed putting all of this out for everyone to listen to or watch. But I'm hopeful that if by me sharing my mistakes and the pain and the frustrations that I went through and the lessons that I've learned, that you can learn from my experience and you can be, wise and you can feel that joy. I feel so much better now. I'm waking up lighter. I'm enjoying my days. I'm not packing myself with all these tasks and things to do. And, you know, I will say, yeah, I've taken a hit in some areas where I think, oh, I'm not as productive or getting as much done as I used to. But I'm feeling so much more connected with my husband, Eric, with our children, with our neighbors, God, with my higher power. And I am waking up excited, more excited, and going to bed more content. And I want that for you too. I would love for you to share in the comments maybe an experience that you've had that came to mind as you were watching this video. Is there something that you've learned? Is there a mistake that you made in the past and that has helped you to, you know, move forward in a really positive way? It would benefit all of us to hear from you as well. So thanks for being here. And there's lots more videos to watch, either on organizing or some of these, changing these thought patterns. We're so glad that you're here, and we'll see you soon at Learn, Do, Become.